Hi there and welcome to Level 7 Captain. So today we're going to be working with solving multi-step equations. So the goal for this level is to solve equations that have multiple steps. So we're going to start with some vocabulary words. We have just one today. The word is consecutive integers. So it says if n is a number, then n plus 1, and n plus 2 will create 3 consecutive numbers. This would be your definition for this word. A characteristic or hint to remember: consecutive means in a row. So you could write in a row or kind of like row, row your boat. An example would be 3, 4, 5, or -6, -7, -8. And a non-example would be 4, -3, 16. And then you want to make sure with those examples that you're putting commas between it, so making kind of like a list. Alrighty, so now we're going to start with our new information, so solving multi-step equations. So our procedure starts with 1, locate the variable, and start by working on that side. I think we've done this enough that hopefully that's ingrained in your brain that we want to start with the variable. You can start with everything else, but it might make it a little bit more difficult when you're trying to solve these equations. Step 2 says you're going to simplify the side with the variable by using the distributive property or combining like terms. So we've done the distributive property. We did it earlier this chapter. We did it in first chapter as well. And combining like terms, we did that in chapter 1, and we did it earlier in this chapter. Step 3 is to eliminate what is not attached to the variable by adding the opposite value. And again, as always, you must do this to both sides of the equation. Step 4 says that you're going to eliminate what is attached to the variable by performing the opposite operation, either multiplication or division. And again, you must do this to both sides of the equation. You're probably going to get tired of me saying this, but I'm going to keep saying it to make sure it gets ingrained in your brain. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. If you don't, you're not going to be able to solve the equation. Equation has the word equal in it. Remember that. All right, and then step 4, step 5, once your variable is by itself on one side of the equation, you are complete. Make sure that your variable is positive and your answer is written in the lowest possible terms. So, now 6. Check your answer by substituting the value back into your equation. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. Secret word for you. The word is scarecrow. Write this down for me. Thank you. So the example for this level that we're going to do is n plus 5 times, in parentheses, n minus 1 equals 7. So to start this equation, to start solving it, what we're going to do is we're going to have to start by doing the distributive property. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply 5 by n and -1. When we do that, we're going to end up with n plus 5n minus 5 equals 7. So if we're following our procedure properly, we are going to combine like terms. So when we do that, we're going to get 6n minus 5 equals 7. From here, it's just like two-step equations. We're going to get rid of what is not attached to the variable by adding the opposite. So we're going to add -5, or we're going to add a +5 to both sides. So when we do that, we're going to end up with 6n equals 12. The next step is to get rid of what is attached to the variable, which is n. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. When we do that, 12 divided by 6 equals 2. Our next example is going to be on the term that we are on our vocabulary word that we learned today. So it says two consecutive integers have the sum of 91. What are the two consecutive integers? So if we go back to our vocabulary and we're looking, we said, okay, so if n is a number, then n and n plus 1 and n plus 2 will create three consecutive numbers. So for this one, it said that we just have two consecutive numbers. So what is this going to look like, do you think? I think the best way for us to be able to write this is to remember that consecutive is x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. So to start this one off, we're going to write x plus 1 in parentheses equals 91. From here, you can take the parentheses out. The reason why I added the parentheses in there is just so that then you can see that the x is adding the x plus 1, just so you're not getting confused in any way. So then, if we do take out the parentheses, we'd have x plus 1 equals 91. So, combine like terms, you get 2x plus 1 equals 91. Subtract 1 from both sides. You'll get 2x equals 90. Get rid of what is attached to the variable, so you'll divide both sides by 2, and you'll end up with x equals 45. So that was just step 1. So now we have the first part of our consecutive integers, because it asked for two different integers. So it asked for 2. Right now we only have 1. So if we're following this, so right now we have x equals 45. But now we need to figure out how to get the other integer. In order to do that, you're going to plug the number you found for x into the equation. So the equation to be able to find the next integer is x plus 1. So x we got was 45. 45 plus 1 is 46. So that means that your two integers are 45 and 46. And, you know, I know some of you might think, oh, I can do it easily by just going up there and subtracting. But the thing is you didn't even know what the first integer was, so there wasn't really a way of you knowing. Alrighty? So now, here are the worksheet examples. We will go through these in class. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. And then the final G question. So for the final G question, it says if consecutive integers are written as x, x plus 1, and x plus 2, how do you think odd integers would be found? And please explain your reasoning. Again, make sure you put this on your goal sheet, which is on the salmon piece of paper.